So, what was originally going to start out as a long, drawn out Facebook post about my mom and these memoirs that I found, rediscovered tonight, actually. I wanted to share with everybody on Facebook, my friends, my mom's friends. However, what I ended up having to do was copy and paste it into a Facebook post, which the formatting didn't really work out very well to where it was readable. So I thought, in this day and age, it's the easiest thing and the thing I'm most uncomfortable doing is a video. I thought maybe I could do it in a series. It's 18 pages long. It, it includes my mom's thoughts, her wisdom, her challenges, her stories, tidbits that she wanted us, her children, to read after she had passed away. However, I want to share it with everybody because I think after reading it that it's something that people that knew my mom would enjoy. It also helps me kind of in the grieving process. Um, So I think what I've decided to do is I'll make a series of videos and I'll read probably, I guess, one story or one page per video, so that they're not too long. This is the first page um, that she wrote. There's a story from when I was in UTI in Houston, and I'll just go ahead and put it in her words since she tells the story, I think, better than I could. Dylan. He is a determined little rascal. This is a story that I always wanted Dylan to write, but he never really had time. It was May of 2005. He was dating Laura May. It was Laura's graduation day, and Dylan was trying to make it back to Lafayette. He was attending UTI in Houston at the time. Well, he had spent the entire night before working on his 1988 IROC Z. I cannot remember exactly what he was working on, but I think he was putting the transmission back in. He had put the tires on last and then he headed for Lafayette. Along the way, he began wondering if he had put the tires on correctly, as they were unidirectional. Dylan stopped in Beaumont to check the tires. Yep, they were on wrong. So he had to take them off and switch them around in the parking lot of a gas station. While he was dead tired. That done, he continued heading towards Lafayette. When he got to Sulphur, he started having trouble with the car. He needed to get some sort of fluid. So he pulled over near the off ramp. He walked to a gas station or convenience store and asked the lady at the counter if there was a Pep Boys or an AutoZone that she knew of. She advised Dylan yes, there was one of them just down the road. So Dylan began walking. About 45 minutes later, the same lady he spoke to at the convenience store passed by and saw him still walking, so she pulled over and asked him if he planned to walk to the location when Dylan advised yes. She then gave him a ride because, in fact, the location was several miles down the road. She gave him a ride there and back to his car, which was still parked on the side of the interstate. Dylan did whatever he needed to do and finally finished his trip to Lafayette. He arrived in Lafayette several hours after the graduation was over and went straight to Laura's house. She was not home. She had gone to her best friend's house to hang out. But according to Lisa, Laura's mom, Dylan went into Laura's room and literally just fell onto the floor and passed out. He was still wearing the clothes from the night before when he worked on his car all night and sweated even more as he made the two stops along the way to keep the IROC rolling safely. When I finally spoke to Dylan later that night, I asked him why he didn't call AAA. Dylan answered, there was no way I was arriving here in a tow truck. End of discussion. So I do remember that story. I still remember that. I kind of forgot that I started walking and the lady told me it was just down the road. So that's a funny part that I didn't remember. It was actually the Sentra I was in, not the Camaro. The IROC had actually broken down and was already abandoned in my mom's driveway by the time this happened. So I was in the Sentra, my 2002 Nissan Sentra Spec V, and what happened was the transmission went out. It was only working in third gear. It was a six-speed transmission, so I'd have to back it out by foot, and then I could put it in third gear. And you know, it was probably a week or a month. I drove it like that. And I stayed up all night. I got a new transmission. I stayed up all night installing the transmission. I had my friend Brandon come over and help me bleed the clutch that morning, early in the morning. He took my shift at CarMax, and I was going to try and surprise my girlfriend at the time um, at her graduation, which, of course, obviously, by the time I got there, the graduation was over, and I had missed the whole thing. And anyway, my mom wrote it down, and I'm glad she did. Um, as with all the other stories in here that I'm going to do in subsequent videos, I'll just narrate them, I guess. And I'm glad that anybody's watching this video. It's a way for me to process, in a way, the grieving, and then hopefully it's also somewhat entertaining, and hopefully somebody gets some kind of, if not entertainment, wisdom. My mom shares in these memoirs her challenges, her thoughts, her stories um, of being our mom, and I think that would be helpful, if not entertaining, for anyone who knew my mom to hear these stories. So, thank you for watching.